I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. What you're looking at is the some water pools on the top of one of the so-called mountains down in Venezuela. You know, these mountains. That looks like a mountain, don't it? Or does it look like a tree stump? How about that one? That's in Venezuela as well. Has the highest waterfall in the world that pours off the side of it. As you can see, quite a few waterfalls pouring off the side of it. Yet, not really any lakes, although there are pools, kind of like this one here. Okay. And I'm going through this paper here. It's 125 pages of reading and looking at all the research that's been done about all the different streams and water sources and so on, seeing what's out there that's been publicly put out. But this video, what we're going to do is a continuance on some of my previous videos. We're going to look specifically at the name of some of these tepuis. That's what the ancient Peman people called it. They're the original native people that still exist in this very wild lands in Venezuela and a couple of other countries bordering it there, where they have a lot of these different types of tree stumps is what they are. And the reason why I say that is because, well, one, they look like them, but two, the ancient peoples, the Peman people, they called them trees. They have words they used, but when translated into English, like you can see here, let's go down this list. You can see here, this one, Wayaka Piapa, something like that. It translates to failed tree or tree stump. Wadaka Piapo translates to tree of all fruits or tree of life. Here we have Sierra Atana, stump of the sacred tree of fruits of the world. Then we have this one, Kanuya Piapa, which translates to guava tree stump. Each one of these is an individual mountain like this, rock formation. What they are is they are petrified ancient trees that were cut down long, long ago. I know to some of you it sounds wild if you're first just hearing this, but this is the case. This is why many cultures around the world felt like we actually live on a tree stump. It's like we live on an ancient tree. You can look up. Let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Dang it! It's depictions of the world system by ancient cultures from around the world. There's a word for it, but it's slipping my mind at the moment. So now we've got Pura Piapa as headless tree. We've got Curayuran, and that's Guianabana tree. And then we've got Ilu Ira, which The stump looks like a basket, so they named it after a basket. And then we've got Teosai, something like that, or Tus Oa, and it means rock tree. It's also nicknamed Devil's Tower. And as you can see here, you've got others that are named Basket and Maraca and so on. And then there's other names that are interesting as well, like Devil Mountain and House of the Dead or House of Ancestral Spirits. It's kind of like there seems to be some kind of a tie with some of these in with like supernatural spirits that inhabit them or show up around and on them. There's definitely some of that going on there. There's another one called Sun Mountain, Home of the Gods, Sacred or Spirit Mountain, Sacred Mountain. Then you've got some of them that are named after like animals, objects, or certain shapes, like Buzzard Mountain. Another one that kind of looks like a deer, it's called Deer Mountain. Blowpipe Mountain, Mountain of the Place of the Butterfly, Griddle Mountain, Place of the Parrots, which likely has to do with the mountain has a lot of parrots. It is the tropical rainforest down there. Waterfall of the Deepest Place, Waterfall of Very Deep Water. Okay. And if we come over here, there might be a few of these that are actually repeated, but we've got Sun Mountain again, Great Blue Green, Mother of All Waters. This is a very famous one down there. Again, they're called Tepuis or Tepui Mountains. House of the Dead. This one here, Wadaka Papui Tepui, Tree of All Fruits. And as you can see, there's a lot of them that have an untranslated meaning. They supposedly they know the name, but they don't know for sure exactly what, at least what I can find, what they mean. I find this as very compelling evidence that these are trees, or were trees, and in some ways they still function somewhat. Like, I've been investigating a lot of the pools that can be found on top of the tepuis, okay? And where this water comes from. In one instance, or actually several, the water comes right out of a hole in the rock. But I can't nail it down so much as to say that it's coming up through the tree. It may or may not be, because they do get a lot of rain down there. And, you know, these are very, very massive formations here, or tree stumps. Very massive. So, you know, when it rains, all this water's got to run off. But the interesting thing is that the waterfalls never really stop. Some of them slow down and then stop. But there's one main one that flows year round. And it's like, don't they ever have a week without rain? And all this drainage would pour off. Now, I don't need to have waterfalls flowing year round in order to think that they're a tree stump. We've got already the people of the country calling them felled tree stump, stump of the sacred tree, guava tree stump, headless tree, rock tree, guanabana tree. What else do we need? You know, then we've got one that's in Japan that I'm going to be digging into some more here, that it is said it's named, the name in Japanese means tree stump. However, it's a volcano. Yeah. And I've, as you could say, postulated, of course, you guys have heard me say it, that not in every case, in fact, it's more rare, that some of these trees, depending on the type of tree, depending on a million things, some of them end up turning into volcanoes. And I've tracked an enormous amount of research and information into putting this stuff together and trying to figure this out. So far as because, one, I want to know, because I know we've been lied to about so much, and nobody has really, that I've seen, has put this amount of effort into trying to unveil this for the whole world to know this. And one of the things that I've been doing is tracking the basalt columns. Basalt columns, they claim that they're lava that fracture perfectly into these big columns. And I think I might have a picture, which I've shown plenty of times, but let's see if I have a quick picture here that I can show for anybody that might be new. I don't know. Yeah, all this stuff I've done previously, analyzing the trees, and I'll show that again as well, because that is very important. Because like I said, it appears that we are actually not in the midst of the garden anymore, but we are in the outer lands of the garden. This is the North Pole that they hide from us. But there are many maps that you can find still that show it, that they call it Rupus Negro, and looks like a tree stump. They claim it's magnetic at the North Pole in the center of also what looks like a round tree stump with rivers flowing out of it at one point. But now it's claimed, or at least the last writings about it that came out a couple of hundred years ago, maybe 150 years ago, is that the water flows in to the center instead of out. And all this is fascinating, and I doubt there's any chance that I'm ever going to get to go here and actually look at this myself for what it is. But this is, if you look at it here, the topography on here is intentional on this map. You see, they show the mountains, where the mountains are at in different parts of the region of Asia, okay? Or whatever country it is, they've kind of got the mountains depicted where mountains are. Well, in this case, it's just shown as mountains around the ring of the outside, like this. And this center area is all plateau. It's like a tree that's been cut down, okay? I mean, it's not that hard for me to think that if this was the tree stump, then the continents are basically pieces of that tree. And we're living on the tree of the original tree from the Garden of Eden, basically, if you want to look at it from a biblical standpoint. I know, it's mind-blowing, isn't it? But the main reason for today's video was to show you a little piece. I'm taking you along on my ride. A little piece of the research in nailing down these names of these tepuis. And then we're going to spread out and from this area and go to other areas that this kind of stuff exists. And there's a lot of them all around the world. you've got these things that look like tree stumps, like that, like Devil's Tower in I keep forgetting which state it's in, Arizona, whatever, doesn't matter. That looks like that, right? It's just fascinating to me. I hope there are some of you that find it fascinating as well and enjoy this information, because I do enjoy learning these things and I enjoy passing it on to y'all guys. And I'm able to do this simply because of y'all guys' support. So thank you very much for that. And I love you, and I'm going to cut it short today. And Father in heaven loves you, and he wants us to seek the truth. See you again real soon.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.